Bon voyage, and welcome to the 100th and somethingth, maybe 160, let's check. Every once in a while I like to check, just to see, maybe we've hit a milestone, maybe we've hit a big number. We like big numbers. Let's see, the last episode was called Microwave Potatoes. I can't remember why that was. 153. Oh, I was so off. We're not even close. Okay. Anyway, happy episode number 154. Oh, I guess my podcast app has decided that I no longer need to download the episodes of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. Does that happen to anyone else where if you don't listen to a show recently enough, it pauses your automatic downloads? That's fine. Well, that's good to know that any downloads I do have are, genuine and not my own. And also, I do kind of want to, I hope it stays that way so that I can show people look, I don't just sit around and listen to my own podcast because I'm really just busy making it. By that, I mean, I do a lot of, I think I was talking about this last episode. I do a lot of talking to myself. So in some ways, I'm constantly doing a podcast. Actually, I will say one of the downsides of doing this is I feel like sometimes in a conversation I'll go into podcast mode and start doing a monologue, and that's just really not how you make human connections, by talking at people, you know what I mean? The way you talk to a person isn't necessarily the same way that you talk when you're just talking into your phone at 6 o'clock in the morning with the intention of, posting that audio file onto the internet. It's you use a different cadence. You use a different sort of, rhythm to your voice and whatnot. So sometimes I'll be in real life, excuse me, not that this is fake life, no offense, but, I'll be in real life and I'm oh, I'm doing it again. I've started podcasting. So it's just interesting to note, just if you were ever thinking about starting a podcast, that might happen to you. Now, speaking of starting a podcast, I believe we are coming up on 3 years, which that's kind of cool. I don't know, 3 years? Let's see. What day did this start? This started, let me scroll back. Yikes. June 13th, 2022. So that would mean on June 13th, 2020, this year, what is that, 2025, we'll be 3 years old. So that is in okay, when I heard the date, June 13th, I was thinking we were months away. Apparently that's 3 weeks away. That's crazy. June is less than 2 months away. How does that, I know we say this every year, oh, the year's flying by. This year has gone by so fast. This year has gone by so fast. Where does the time go? Also, while I'm complaining, this weather is nuts. I don't know if this is how it is everywhere, but where I am, I swear to you, which I don't know that I've ever said exactly where I was. Where I am, it will be raining 1 minute, sunny the next minute, raining and sunny an hour later, then thunder and lightning, then cold, and I'm what do I wear? How do you put together a look under these conditions? You can't. You just can't. I'm sorry. That's why I'm just constantly in a hoodie. But I recently discovered a zip-up hoodie. Well, I didn't recently discover it, but I recently purchased, maybe in the last year, my first zip-up hoodie, and that really works for me because you can kind of you can have it, you can wear it as if it's a full hoodie with the front pocket situation. Or you can wear it half zipped down so you get a little airflow. Or you can just wear it as a jacket. but you still get like the comfy coziness of a hoodie. And I also have some terrible news. I'm getting to the point where the last zip-up hoodie that I bought, not the one I bought a year ago because that would be disgusting, but the one I bought very recently, like I'm going to have to put it in the wash soon. And nothing teaches me how to say goodbye more so than putting a hoodie in the wash for the first time, because it really does, like, it's the closest I get to feeling like I'm sending, my firstborn off to college. It's like when you get back, or like sending them on exchange, it's like when you get back, you're not going to be the same person. And you shouldn't be the same person because, we're paying all this money, we're putting all this effort into, you getting this experience, whether it be college or the experience of, getting cleaned in the washing machine. Like that's obviously the point of entering it into this program. But it's like, I will never have this version of you again. And, in the college example, the international exchange program, that could be for better or for worse. But it's almost worse with a hoodie because that 100% like your hoodie will come out worse. Especially if it's like not merch, but like, maybe it's like a hoodie from like your school, or like, I don't know if all schools do this, but when you graduate like elementary school and everyone gets that like hoodie that you sign the back of, it's like your grad sweater. And then I feel like that is when your sort of teenage, I don't know if it's hormones or teenage just like ego sets in when you get that hoodie and you just become a raging nightmare. Just a theory, the hoodie theory. Again, I don't know that this is universal, but in my scenario, that was the case. But yeah, there's nothing like a fresh hoodie, and there's nothing like the knowing disappointment that like this hoodie is no longer what it was once you take it out of the wash, let alone the dryer. See, I don't ever put my clothes in the dryer really because I'm scared that they're gonna shrink, which that's really a flaw in the system. Can we fix that? Because the idea of getting to, go from dirty clothes to like clean clothes ready to wear in like a couple hours, brilliant. It seems like how it should be. But in my case, I have to go from dirty clothes to clean clothes that are ready to wear. It takes about, I don't know, a day and a half, depending on how the weather is, the temperature of the house, all of that. But like, why can't I get like just a nice, soft hoodie again? Whoever has to figure that out, or can figure that out, like, please, like, let's get the scientists on it. Whatever scientists are currently dedicated to exposing Diet Coke, I don't need you working on that research. Now, if that research can be applied elsewhere in more important areas, let's do it. But if all that research is resulting in is you telling me every other year Diet Coke's bad for me, and then maybe every few years saying, actually, we're not so sure, maybe let's halt that process. Let's reallocate those funds to making a dryer where you don't have to worry about your clothes shrinking. Now, the irony of this coming from my mouth is that I am currently in a hoodie that is like 3 sizes too big for me. But if that's how I want to wear it, that's how I want to wear it. I'm not going to apologize for that. Nor do I think I should. So that's sort of where I'm at. That's all. Like, that could be the second title for this podcast. Like, this is where I'm at. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm not saying I'm not better than anybody, to be frank. But this is just where I'm at. What's that thing that people love to say when they're trying to prove a point or they're trying to apologize? Oh, they love to say way, shape, or form. Who invented that? Like, who decided, like, that's how we're gonna defend ourselves? Saying, I did not mean to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. Like, who speaks like that? I'm gonna Google the origin. Way, shape, or form. Is an idiom that means under any circumstance or conditions. Okay, I had a realization the other day. I'm kind of ditching this the way, shape, or form thing. I don't know. They're not going to tell me who made it up. Like, do we owe money to the person who invented that phrase every time we say it? I'm not sure. I guess probably we don't owe them money because, like, we're not making money off of saying it. So it's like, what money do we owe them? But also people love to sue, as we know. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave that there. But what I do want to say, speaking of me thinking that I'm better than everyone else, I'm actually a liar. I have lived my life this past year and a half since this whole AI... I mean, AI's been around, I assume, for a while. But really, like, the last year, 2 years, it's been, like, heavy topic of conversation. We're talking about, can we use AI? Do we not like AI? Are the robots taking over? I believe they are. But, like, do we really? Like, is that a huge problem? You know, I'm in between. But I've gone around saying, oh, I don't use AI. I don't use AI. GD what? I don't have that. And I don't. I truly don't. The closest I've gotten to having AI is that Snapchat guy. You're my Snapchat AI. Which, like, me even having Snapchat proves that I'm not better than anyone else. So I feel like I don't really have to, you know, provide further evidence, you know, on the contrary. But that's really the closest I've gotten to using AI. I don't have the Chat GPT. I don't even know if that's an app or, like, I know it's a website, but is it an app as well? I'm not sure. So I thought I was better than everyone, like, not doing Chat GPT AI. Apparently, come to find out, my sidekick, co-host on this podcast, technically, is AI. And by that I mean, you know that box when you type something in Google, and instead of even having to read the articles anymore, like, it just gives you a synopsis of it at the top in that, like, text box thing? I think that's AI. So, like, not only have I been using AI unknowingly, but I have been claiming it as essentially my podcast co-host. So, like, I am a prime example of the robots taking over, and we didn't even know. I was oblivious to the fact that I use AI every day. Now, I'm sure there are other examples of how I use AI every day. I'm sure in, like, those mobile ordering apps, there's, like, an element of AI. You know, a delivery service, maybe there's some AI there. I don't know. But I thought, I mean, I'm truly coming here to apologize and to humble myself before you all to say, like, listen, apparently I'm one of you too. I thought I was better than everyone. I thought I was the resistance. I thought I was, like, you know, one of the Gen Zs that, like, aren't like the other Gen Zs. No, apparently I'm just as bad as everyone else because people don't Google stuff anymore. People just do fully AI because I think it takes you kind of, like, one level deeper. Like, you don't even have to read the articles anymore. Which, what I loved about that text box in Google is you didn't even have to read the articles anymore. So it's like, whether or not you consider that technology AI, I'm just as bad. Where I have a little bit of a defense is, like, I'm just doing me. I've always Googled stuff. I was happy to read the articles before. But then they started just making it so convenient that I was like, why would I even have to do that? And now come to find out that's AI. Which brings me back to the robots are taking over, ... and we might not even know it? ? So that's kind of what's been stressing me out this week. I don't really know that I'm going to do anything about that. Like, I think we're just going to full steam ahead. Like, I'm not going to work harder if Google's willing to do the work for me. But at the same time, good to know. And I am, you know, willing to share that. So I hope that gives me, like, some points back to anyone that I might have bragged about not using AI. So if you were one of those people, I would like to apologize. I did not mean to lie, get this, in any way, shape, or form. But I happen to. Oops. Anyway, in the interest of honesty, it is about Almost 12 hours since you last heard that clip. Or no, not since you've last heard it. It's been about 30 seconds since you last heard it. It's been about 11 hours since, closer to 10 hours since I personally recorded that last clip. I wish I could say I'm feeling refreshed. I'm not. I'm feeling kind of stuffy. It's again, this like, we're in this weird weather season. Also, there is a high-pitched noise that I'm not able to figure out. I don't know what, why, where, when, or how this happened. I don't know why bad things happen to good people. Is it picking up on the audio? Apologies if it is. Long story short, I am sitting in traffic. I would do my whole disclaimer about how, my phone is on a stand, I'm not touching it, and that is all true. I'm being very safe, but I'm moving about 5 kilometers an hour, so there's really nothing to worry about. I've been thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner. If anyone has any suggestions, obviously, like, by the time I post this, dinner time will have passed. Although sometimes it takes me long enough to cook that, like, if you got a comment in right away, you might be able to impact that choice for me. And then that's the thing about dinner is, like, if it doesn't go your way one day, like, there is literally always tomorrow. So I think I'm gonna have some rice from the microwave, to be completely honest, and some chicken from the freezer. I think that's kind of what the day calls for. Sometimes it's like more fancy, I'll do an air fryer. I've talked a lot about my air fryer. My air fryer made me think that I was a better chef than I was. You sort of get carried away, like, I'll put anything in an air fryer. It gets kind of scary at times. I was also thinking maybe I was going to do some sort of a burrito. That just seems like a lot of work, and, like, I don't really have anything that is, like, burrito worthy. So yeah, there's that. Okay, the high-pitched noise is gone. I don't know if it's in my car, in my ear, or in my environment, or all three. I guess it could technically be all three. My car does this really annoying thing where when you go to hit the change lanes button, it'll do it like 3 times only. So, like, if I accidentally, and this doesn't happen a ton, but, like, if I accidentally hit the button, like not the gear shift, what is it called? Like the indicator thing. If I accidentally hit it, I can't just quickly undo it. It has to embarrass me for 3 Mississippis. Because that is the function. I guess the idea is, like, you just hit it once and then that's long enough for you to change lanes, but how does it know that? I mean, talk about road safety. I don't know that sounds very safe. Volvo. Which, if the Volvo people are listening, I do have some notes. Anytime I go for any sort of, not a checkup, what is it called? Like, any sort of, like, road maintenance thing, it's always, like, so specific. They'll be like, oh yeah, next time you're in for your oil change, where anytime I go for an oil change, they love to tell me that my entire car is falling apart. But then I've been going to that place for, like, 5 years. So really, 5 years ago you were lying. Now, it might all go to hell tomorrow, but, like, 5 years ago you were wrong. And I'm not even saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, like, they have no hope. You have no faith. You know how many times that this car probably should have, knock on wood, not, been driven, and I drove it anyway, and it just sort of, all the problems, like, kind of just worked out. This is setting me up for failure. But I'm just saying, here's the thing. You speak negatively, and people are like, that's so negative, nothing's gonna happen with that attitude. And then you speak positively, and everyone's like, well, don't jinx it. It's like, well, shoot, what do you want me to do? Like, are we jinxing it? Or are we being negative? Because I have 2 modes. I have toxic positivity and negative. I do feel like I do have a level of toxic positivity. When I say that, I mean, like, I think I'm, like, a happy person, and I'm, like, always positive, to the point where, like, I don't always realize that, like, oh, this is not great. Like, maybe we should make some changes here, because I'm just busy being like, oh yeah, it's fine, it could be worse. the sky's not falling down, when in reality, like, the sky doesn't have to be falling down for you to, like, maybe make some positive changes. Anyway, I just had that thought earlier and wanted to share it. I figured I'd get in, like, you know, something that's not just about, like, sweet potatoes and peanut butter for one episode in 3 years. So that was that. What was I talking about before I started talking about how I wasn't going to talk about sweet potatoes and peanut butter? We're talking about traffic, my car, jinxing, manifestation, negativity, traffic. There was like 100% a thought I didn't finish there, but if I didn't finish it, I guess it just wasn't a thought that was supposed to be finished. I've really started to take that approach to podcasting. I also do realize that much of my podcast has become like me talking about how I'm doing a podcast, but like maybe that's fun too. I mean, people pay hundreds for that masterclass app where like people who actually know what they're doing will tell you how they did it. So like I think they have like, I don't even know an example, but like fancy business people will tell you like how to start a business. I mean, they should get Jeff Bezos on there telling you how to like become a billionaire, stuff like that. I'm essentially doing that on podcasts, but except I haven't like reached success. Not yet. We're getting there. Except we're not, but we are getting there. But listen, those who can't do teach. See, that's another one of those sayings. Like, is that true? Those who can't do teach. I don't know about that. I'm going to have to think on that one. I don't know that that is the same smart person that told us, you know, any way, shape, or form, or the same mind that crafted the sentiment of, you know, we can't be the only ones. When speaking of aliens, everyone loves to say that, and I've always wondered, like, who was the first person to have that thought? You know, we're not all geniuses like, you know, Ben and Jerry. Excuse me as I slam on the brakes. What is that noise? Is it coming up on the... It's like a wheezing. See, if I wasn't recording, I would just turn off the radio. But then maybe it is the radio? But like, it has to be me, no? I mean, I'm not one to just like blame my issues on the people around me. I really try and look inward, but like, I really don't want that wheezing noise to be my car, because then the people at the oil change place would be correct. Maybe it's the speaker. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say I blew out a speaker, because that seems like the least expensive thing to fix, and also the least important thing to fix. These are the thoughts that come to my brain when I've been in traffic for an hour and a half. I really have to just like zone out. Although the problem with driving, okay, I've come to the conclusion it's like for sure my car, but I don't want it to be my car. What part of my car? Why? Okay, I'm going to listen back to this audio and see if you can hear it. Okay, I have good news and bad news. The good news is... No, sorry, I'll do bad news first. The bad news is you can definitely hear it. The good news is, like, the audio quality of my phone is, like, bad enough that there kind of are, like, just squeaky noises anyway. So it's not, like, this particular squeaky noise. Also, my voice is a squeaky noise. Like, there's just so many squeaky noises on this audio file that like there really is no real way to differentiate what is my car and what is just, you know, a good old episode of the Nobody Asked For This podcast. So we're gonna go full steam ahead. Okay, it stopped now. Is it something to do with the brakes? I don't love that. I have to check back on my oil change paper. You know how when you do a oil change, they always tell you like they give you a list of like this is what's like they basically give you a report card, like you're in elementary school. I have to look back at my last oil change report card and see what they recommended, because see if anything on there kind of sparks my eye as a what is it called? As a reason for a squeaky noise. Because here's the thing, I know nothing about cars. I have not studied cars. I am not a mechanic. But, like, I've driven enough crappy cars that, like, I've really come into contact with every issue. Like, transmission issue, check. Radiator issue, check. Flat tire, check. Simple stereo issues, check. Lack of having an aux cord, so I have to play my music from my just open speaker, check. Cracked windshield, check. Randomly and suddenly finding a bag of needleless syringes under my front seat, check. That is a true story. I still, like, to this day, do not know. I bought a car, obviously used, and about 6 months later, I was cleaning it out because that's about how often I clean out my car. And I thought I did a thorough clean when I got it because I feel like that's the thing to do. Like, you know, I got a used car. It definitely smelled like dog, which, you know, we love a pet, kind of. I have never had pets. That was a lie. But I've recently become a dog person. That's a whole other episode. But I cleaned it out when I got it. Apparently, I didn't check under the front seat because when I checked, you know, at my 6-month checkup cleaning of my own car, which, speaking of 6-month cleaning, I have to call the doctor, or the dentist back, and probably a doctor too, but a dentist specifically. I've been kind of dodging them. But when I checked under my seat to see if, like, there were any crumbs or, like, you know, McDonald's wrappers under there, I found... Oh, finally, someone waved. People don't wave anymore. You know when you let someone in, they don't wave. This person waved, so it's gonna be a good day. But what was not a good day was when I found, it was a bag of, like, syringes, and not like it wasn't straws, and I was being dramatic calling it needles, and it didn't have the actual needles in them, but it was just like a bag of syringes. I'm hoping it was, like, medicinal, like, not because I wanted the owner of the car to, you know, require medicine, but like that's like the least dark, or that's like the most explainable answer I can tell myself. Like, why else would you need a bunch of syringes? I actually don't know. And I was gonna Google, like, reasons you would need syringes, but then I just don't need that on my Google history. I already Google enough weird stuff for the Nobody Asked for this podcast. I don't need to be adding, like, potentially illegal. Okay, I've turned off the freeway and I can still hear this noise. What is happening? Is it my ears? No, because I could hear it back in the recording. This is irritating. Like, I've been in traffic for almost 2 hours and I'm hearing like the whole time. This is almost more unpleasant than just listening to the Nobody Asked for this podcast without the high-pitched noise. Apparently, I have a new co-host. Step aside, Google AI that I didn't know was AI. We have a special guest. They're singing a song for us. It goes something like this. No, that's the wrong pitch. I'm flat. I can't hit the note that is required of me to replicate this sound, but whatever. Not important. I'm not worried about it. And that's kind of my approach to cars. Like, I just don't worry about it. I don't worry about it until I have to, and then I usually, like, will fix something, like, in a panic to the point where I probably overpay to fix it, which is not smart and is not financially, you know, the way to go. But I kind of put myself in a position where I just have to fix it quickly, so there's not much time to think about it, and then I just try and forget that it ever happened. I am giving such solid advice. You know, some episodes are better than others. I think this is one for the books, I do have to say. If you can hear me over this squeaking noise... Oh, it's gone. Okay, what am I doing differently when I hear the squeaking versus not? I really hope it's not the brake, because, like, that's something, like, I need the brake. Like, I don't need the aux cord. I don't need a fancy, you know, you're gonna parallel park for me. I don't need a side door. I don't need the, you know, the back to open smoothly. I don't need a key fob thing. But I do need the brakes. Like, that's like the one part of the car that's like, okay, you need a wheel, you need tires, and you need a brake. And I mean, I guess the Flintstones didn't need brakes, so there's that. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you took the time to listen to this, I really do appreciate it. I hope everyone has the best weekend. I'm already coming from a place of weekend, even though I just came off of a long weekend. So I'm really only on like the second day of the working week, but I'm already looking toward the future, which that's positive too. You know, we should be looking towards the future. You should be excited. Or should is it puts pressure on it, but like it's nice to be excited. Anyway, this squeaking's driving me nuts. So please go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. On there, as you know, you can find links to all of our yada yada. You know the drill. Literally, if you need to hear this speech, which no one does, because if you're listening to this, then you already like have the information. Like I don't need to tell people that are listening to an episode of Nobody Asked for This podcast how to do so. It's kind of like when the prof, which I hate that term, but when the professor, instructor, whatever, would like complain to the people that showed up about like how many people didn't show up. It's like, well, can you just teach us now because we're here? Like, let's not like waste more time. Anyway, thank you for listening. I'm gonna go hopefully fix my car, do some Googling. Maybe AI can help me, because I guess I'm just leaning in as a Gen Z at this point. And yeah, have a great night. Thank you. Bye.